Okay, so story time. Let's get into the story because I really want to put y'all onto this. So I ended up on this dating app a while back, and it was my first time ever signing up for a dating app. I've always had my reservations because I was like, yo, there's some crazy people out there, and I don't want to run into any crazies. Like, I ain't trying to get kidnapped and like end up in another country, don't know where I'm at because I decided to go on a freaking date with this one psycho. But I was like, what are the odds that that would happen to me, right? So I get to like swiping and looking, and you know, some guys I was like, ugh, corny, whack, nah, until I saw this man. I was like, oh, he is fine. Like, I mean, gorgeous, model, gorgeous, wow. And so we matched, and I decided to shoot my shot and say, hey, you're really attractive. And he hits me with the, you are gorgeous and stunning. So I'm just like, okay, I think I found my husband, right? So we get to talking, and like we exchange numbers. We get off the app and we're talking, and we finally get on the phone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like his voice is so sexy. The conversation was so amazing. I mean, we're on the phone for like 4 hours, and I'm like, wow, I feel like I've known you in the past life. So now he goes and he's like, yo, I would really love to take you out on a date. And he's like, let me pick the place. Let me be a gentleman. I got you, right? I was like, yo, they don't make them like this in New York anymore, right? So I let him pick the place, and he asked me my favorite, cuisines were, and Italian is always my top choice. So he's like, I know the best Italian spot. Yeah, we end up meeting at this spot the next day, right? I mean, it was given Lady and the Tramp. But I wasn't the tramp, but you know. It was so romantic, so sweet. I mean, I get there, I'm looking gorgeous. He's there, tall, handsome. I mean, wow. Like, so I'm a little shy, but he orders a bottle of wine. We start laughing. Food starts coming out. We're talking. I'm like, this is the one, right? He then goes and he's like, yo, I know the perfect gelato spot. I'm like, okay, you just giving me all euro. Like, I planned this date out in like a matter of hours, honestly. But we get gelato, and we're eating, and he's just looking into my eyes, and he's like, I feel like I know you. And I'm like, funny, I feel like I know you too. And he's like, wait, you do? From where? I was like, no, I just meant like metaphorically. And he's just like, oh, okay. And I'm like, okay, but whatever. So the vibes are so perfect that he goes and says to me, he's like, hey, do you want to come back to my place? It's not too far from here. We could just sit on a stoop. I'm like, you're not crazy or anything, right? I was like, but like, you're not a serial killer, like, on the run. And he goes, why would you say that? Why would you say that? I was like, I was just kidding. Oh my, I'm just like, I was really just kidding. Like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. He's like, oh no. He's like, I'm sorry. He was like, sometimes I can't take a joke when it's an obvious joke. He's like, but he was like, I'm not. He's like, I'm the safest man on the planet. He's like, I couldn't even hurt a fly. He's like, girl, my record's so clean. Trust me. So it's like, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of information, but I believe you. Cool. So he goes and says to me, he's like, but he's like, you want to come? I was like, you know what? I'm thinking, what are the odds that I end up with FBI's most wanted man? Like, seriously, what are the odds? Just my mother loving luck. I end up with someone that is a little, So we go back to the script, right? We're sitting on a stoop, and I mean...
Messy family, welcome back to the channel. As you see in the title, in the description, this is a messy story. Now, I did clip up the video just so we can get to the meat and potatoes. Let's get into this messy story. Make sure y'all sit back because this is semi-long.
So romantic, so sweet, and I'm telling you, it just feels like I'm connecting to this guy, but I just kept having this one eerie feeling. I didn't know what it was, so I'm like, all right, let me just chill and not, because maybe it's my fear of dating apps and feel like I'm gonna run into a psycho, right? At this point, we've been chilling on a stoop, and like the vibes are amazing. He's like, hey, do you want to just come in for a glass of wine? Because he's like, I really don't want this night to end, and I feel like I found the one. Like, I feel like I found like you, and I've been searching for you for such a long time. So I'm just like, oh my God, that is the most romantic thing I've ever heard. So I'm just like, you know what? Yeah. Mind you, I still have this weird gut feeling, but I'm like, he's fine. He looks normal. Like, it's a beautiful ass man. So we end up in his crib, and we're talking again, and things start getting a little odd. like just a little odd. Like, first of all, the apartment was beautiful. I mean, perfect. And it was so well kept. The towels in the bathroom, went to the bathroom to go wash my hands. The towels were wrapped up so perfect. It was almost as if I was in a hotel. So he goes and tells me, I'm like, yo, did you design this place? He's like, yeah. And he's like, I was living here for 3 years. It's just always like this. I'm like, do you have a cleaning lady that comes in here and just like fix up the place for you? He's like, no, I just do it myself. So I'm like, okay. I was like, you've been living here for 3 years? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, something just seemed off about that, right? Crazy part about this was for someone to have lived in an apartment for 3 years, there were no photos of him at all. And some people don't have photos of themselves, but like it just felt like it wasn't like it was like his clothes weren't there. Like it just felt like, like you go to someone's home and you feel like it's their home, like they live there, it looks lived in. It wasn't given that, right? So at this point, like my alarms in my body are just going off, but I'm like, stop, girl. You're being nervous for no reason, right? So he goes and he tries to go make me a drink, and I'm like looking and I'm like trying to make sure, he don't put no nothing in it. But I'm like, okay, you're being a psycho. Like, girl, just be on this date. This guy is amazing. You guys hit it off. You guys are clicking, and it just feels right. But it still doesn't. So I go and I'm like, yo, you are just so gorgeous. Like, I just want to take a photo of you. Can I take a photo of you? He's like, no, don't take no photos of me. I'm like, huh? He's like, I don't want photos of me. I was like, I'm like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, it's just, I got a photophobia. I'm like, a photo what? A photophobia. I'm like, but you have a photo of you on your thing. He's like, yeah, but like, I just got a photophobia. I'm like, what? Me not realizing, right? The photos on the app seemed a little altered because when I saw him, I was like, he's gorgeous, but he does look a little different, but they're altered. Like and he has like a lot of like, mysterious, like posts, like, like hood. And he's just like, he told me, he's like, I just like to be all incognito. I don't like people knowing too much about me. I'm like, okay. So when I guess I was going to take like a bare-faced photo of him, like a, actual, and a lot of things don't make sense. Cause as I'm telling you the story, I'm just like, but whatever, right? So I go and I'm like, all right, no photos. But me, if you don't, I'm going to snap a photo. You tell me not to do something, I'm going to do it, baby. It's a Sag in me. So I pick up my phone, I'm pretending to text, and he's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm texting my friend. He was like, why? I was like, because I just want them to know I'm okay. He's like, oh, okay. And I quickly go, snap with them. So I take that photo and, without him realizing, and I send it to my girls group chat. And I'm like, y'all, this is a guy that I'm on a date with, because I never sent them a photo. I just told him he was fine as hell. But I was like, this is a guy I'm on a date with, and he's getting all weird about me taking photos. Can y'all just like do like a little quick background check? And I'm also going to share my location. And, my phone was quiet for a second. And then my friend sends me a message. She's like, you need to leave. You need to get out of there right now. And I'm like, but I'm back with part 2. So last when we left off, I was saying I got a text message from my best friend, and she's like, girl, leave. So I get that message from her, and the first thing that happens is my heart feels like it's about to stop, because I'm just sitting here like, oh my God. Like, what does she see? What's going on? And I'm also thinking, is she playing a prank on me? So I'm trying to keep calm under pressure. So he's looking at me, send a message, and I'm just like, girl, time to be an actor. So I'm just like, he's like, what happened? I'm like, my friends are so stupid. They're just like, girl, I hope you're not out there being weird and freaky with that guy. And he's just like, oh, wow, your friends are dumb. And in the back of my head, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so scared. So I say to him, I'm like, hey, I got to use the bathroom real quick. This wine is just going through my system like crazy. And he's like, yeah, go ahead, go to the restroom. So I go to the restroom, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I get on the phone with her. I call her, and I'm whispering. I'm like, yo, text me really quickly what you saw. And she's just on the phone like, you need to leave right now. She's like, where are you? Send me your address. I'm coming to get you. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, Chelsea, he's on the FBI's most wanted list. I'm like, you're effing with me right now. She's like, yo, he's on the FBI's most wanted list. So I'm just like, so for 2 seconds, I'm like, she has to be messing with me, because how would she randomly find him with that photo? But then I think again, my homegirl has found out that her man was cheating on her from like 10 years ago, okay? By like hacking his email. So she knows things. Hey guys, so my bad. I got caught up with life and work and stuff, but I'm back with part 2. So last when we left off, I I'm saying I got a text message from my best friend, and she's like, girl, leave. So I get that message from her, and the first thing that happens is my heart feels like it's about to stop, because I'm just sitting here like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, what does she see? What's going on? And I'm also thinking, is she playing a prank on me? So I'm trying to keep calm under pressure. So he's looking at me, send a message, and I'm just like, girl, time to be an actor. So I'm just like, he's like, what happened? I'm like, my friends are so stupid. They're just like, girl, I hope you're not out there being weird and freaky with that guy. And he's just like, oh, wow, your friends are dumb. In the back of my head, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so scared. So at this point, I've already had my heart fall out of my, like, because everything that I felt like I was afraid of was happening. So I'm trying to play it cool, and I'm just like, what do you mean he's on the FBI most wanted list? And she's like, he's on the FBI's most wanted list. She's like, I'm gonna send you a screenshot of this right now. But girl, like, he is wanted, and he's on the run, and he's been on the run. I don't understand how you've gotten in his web, but he's on a... So I'm sitting here like, why would someone that's on the run be on a dating app? So then I'm thinking, oh my God. So he can kidnap me, because it has to be why he's on a run, because he just lures women, right? So I'm thinking all the worst things, and I have yet to ask her, well, what is it he's on a run for? So she goes and sends me a screenshot, right? And there he is on the FBI's most wanted list. And I'm just like, first of all, looking fine as hell. But I'm sitting here like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So he goes and I guess I was in the restroom for so long, right? So he's just like, yo, are you good in there? And I'm like, oh yeah, my stomach is just like messed up. I'm so embarrassed. Oh my God. Because that's like, I mean, at that point, I don't care. What, like, you on the FBI's most wanted list. So me taking a boo-boo, it don't really matter right now. I'm not that embarrassed. You should be embarrassed that you here with me right now. But hey, whatever. So I stopped caring, right? So I'm looking at this and I'm just like, oh my God, he's really been on the run for months. I mean, months, right? So I decide, I'm like, let me just see what he's wanted for, because I'm more scared that, like, I'm with a freaking psychopathic killer murderer right now who wants to kidnap me. So I'm like, oh my God, I was so scared, and I'm like nervous, because, you know, when you want to find out the truth about something, but you're so afraid of that the truth is going to be what you think it is, right? So I'm just like shaking up, and I'm like, ugh. So I go and read. Yo, this guy literally is one of the biggest bank robbing heist men on the planet. Like, I mean, like, he's wanted for stealing so much money. And this is like he's a career criminal. So at this point, I'm like, ow, I got me I saw Money Heist on Netflix, okay? And I was intrigued. So I'm sitting here like, wait, that's what he's wanted for? Oh. And then I'm like, oh. And it made sense to me, because I had asked him, I was like, oh, like when we were on the phone and we were talking, and you know, like we were like asking each other questions. I was like, oh, what do you do? And he's like, I don't really do anything. I'm a nepotism baby. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, he comes from money. So things are easy for him, right? Life is easy for him. So I'm just like, okay, nepo baby. But this whole time, he was stealing money. So I'm like, wait, I gotta check my pockets and my purse. I left my purse out there with him. But you know, that's besides the point. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my God. Literally, like, what am I gonna do? Because my other thing is, like, I don't want him to know that I know he's on a run, because Lord knows what he's going to do, right? Like, how he's going to react. So I'm just like, okay, be cool. But I'm like on the phone, my best friend whispering, I'm like, I gotta call you, just text me. And she's like, okay. But she's like, I'm on my way, I gotta come get you. She was like, I'm gonna call the cops. I was like, don't do that. Don't call. First of all, because I ain't no snitch. But also, I'm just like, don't do that, because I don't want him to just get triggered and act crazy or something. So she's like, okay, cool. So she told me she's on her way. So I sent her my address, right? My location. Boom. So.
All right, messy family. Let's just stop right there and diagnose it so far. First of all, what are you doing in this situation? If you find out that the person that you are on a date with is a whole criminal that's wanted by the FBI, not the local state department, the police department, but the whole Federal Bureau of Investigations, what are you doing? Now, I feel like, not to throw no shade on her, but it just seemed like she too busy focusing on the money. After finding out he was a criminal, instead of just getting the hell out of there, she's like, what'd he do? I just want to make sure, because it could be light. You just be a robber. If they'll steal from you, they'll kill you.
As I'm getting ready to, this is the crazy part. As I'm getting ready to like, I'm like shaking right now, like to go out, like get out of the bathroom door. I open the bathroom door and it pulls back. And I'm like, what? So I pull it and it pulls right back. And I'm just like, are you on the other side of the door? He's like, yes. His voice like changes. Like, I mean, it turns into like this deep monotone, dark voice, like, yes. And I'm like, okay. Okay. So I say to him, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, you know, don't you? I was like, no, what? He's like, you know. I was like, so last where we left off, I was fighting with him with the door. And he was pulling, and he's like, you know, don't you? And I'm like, no, what? And he's like, don't play stupid. I know you know. And I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. He's like, calm down. And I'm just like, no, just let me go. I don't know nothing. I promise I won't tell. He's like, yo, calm down. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to calm down. I'm going to calm down. I'm going to calm down. Yo, this is like the scariest thing that has ever happened to me, truly. So he goes and so he tells me, you need to calm down and I need to talk and you need to listen. And I just said, you know what? Okay. He was like, do you know? And I was like, yes, I know. He's like, okay, who were you on the phone with? And I was like, my best friend. He was like, he gets pissed off. He's like, talk about, like I could hear him from the other end of the door. And I'm just like, oh, that's it. I'm done for. So he goes and he's like, yo, listen. He's like, I'm a nice guy. I'm a good guy. I did some things. He's like, I'm not going to hurt you, but I need you to give me your phone. So I'm like, my phone? He's like, yeah, I need you to give me your phone. I was like, why? I'm not giving you my phone. I can't give you my phone. He's like, Chelsea, I need you to give me the phone and I need you to calm down. I don't watch a lot of these true crime shows, and I already know the thing you need the most is your phone. Because when you got to get out of there and call somebody, who you gonna call if you don't got a phone? So I'm just like, no, you can't have my phone. He's like, yo, he's like, this is not me asking. This is me telling you. That's when I realized, oh, so he said I don't got a choice. Oh, this man is using threatening tones and words with me, right? Okay, I'm going to give him my phone because he's kind of crazy. He's going to want to listen. I don't want to, I just don't want to tempt a man that's wanted. But he wants to sell money. So I'm thinking, is he that dangerous? But whatever, who cares? I just know he's a thief. So anyway, so at this point, I'm just like, okay, what are you going to do with my phone? He's like, I'm going to grab your phone. I'm going to leave. You were to leave when I leave, but 15 minutes after. So now I go and say to him, I'm like, he goes and says to me, he's like, what did your friend say? I was like, she's coming to pick me up. He's like, did she call the cops? I said, no, she did not call the cops. I told her not to. She's coming to pick me up. She just wants me to come out. I just want to get out of here, okay? I want no problems. He said, He thinks for a sec. He's like quiet for a second. Then he goes and says, actually, new plan. You're going to come with me and I'm going to drop you off somewhere for your friend to come pick you up. And that's when I'm like, oh, hell no. I am not getting in the car with a thief because he's about to steal me. So at this point, I'm really just like, what the heck did I get myself into? I should have never signed up for that dating app because I knew it, and I didn't listen to myself, and I knew it. So I'm just like, do I have a choice? He's like, no, you really don't. So I was ready to go kicking and screaming, right? So boom. Now he goes and he says, what's your friend's number? I'm like, why? He's like, because I need to call her and tell her the new plan. So I give him my friend's number. He gets on the phone and he's like, this is what we're doing. I am giving you an address. You're going to meet me there. Do not call the cops. If you call the cops, it's going to go bad. And she's just like, from what she told me, she was like, how, don't touch her. You better not touch her hair, huh? Or else I'm going to get all my people on you, blah. Whatever. We end up getting in the car. And at this point, I'm realizing this is so not safe. Like, first of all, this can't be happening to me at all, but it's happening. So we're driving. I'm freaking out. He has a gun. And he's like, I'm not going to use this on you, but I got to protect myself. I'm like, you? I'm the one that needs protection. I'm here in the car with 5-finger discount, and you talking about you need to protect yourself, but whatever. Whatever. Anyway, so I go in the car, and I'm just like, it feels like we're driving for like a really long time. But I guess that's what happens when you're practically getting kidnapped. But anyway, I get to asking him, I'm like, yo, why do you do what you do? And he's like, he goes and says, he's like, well, I lived a very hard life, like a very, very tough life. And I'm like, so did I. But you don't see me going to banks and stealing. But okay. So he goes, he's like, look, he was like, I don't need you judging me. I lived a very rough life. I did what I did. I made some mistakes, and now I'm trying to change my life around. I'm like, how are you trying to change your life around when you on the run? You're literally on the run. I'm practically on the run with you. I'm an accomplice. But I'm not trying to judge him because, you know, people do stupid things and you just got to learn from them. But, I mean, this situation is a little extreme. But, hey, whatever, right? So now I'm sitting in this car and, you know, it's been a little time. And I'm looking at the time in the car. I'm like, okay, all right. And then as I'm sitting there, it clicks to me. I'm like, I look at him. I'm like, was it even real? Was any of this real? What were you going to do with me? What were you planning on doing? Were you ever going to tell me this? And he's like, I've only known you for one day. He's like, but he was like, the conversation was real. He was like, the energy, everything was real. He was like, I was really feeling you. And he was like, you just had to find out. And I'm sorry, but like, just for context, I was really actually feeling this guy. Like, really, truly feeling him. Like, it was a rough past year for me. Got out of a really bad relationship. And I kept saying, I need to stop choosing the bad boy types. The one that breaks your heart, or the liars, because they just, you know, got me. And here I am, doing it again. But it was so crazy because, like, I felt like I knew him in a past life. So, as crazy as it is, don't judge me. But I was thinking, I was like, I mean, I could be the Bonnie to his Clyde. I mean, because we were in the car, though, and I cracked a few jokes. And, you know, it kind of, we were just having conversation. It was awkward. I was scared. I really was scared. Most of the time, I was definitely just trying to distract him from possibly killing me. But there was a moment where I was just like, yo, like, you're actually really cool, and this sucks. So anyway, this is the crazy part. So remember when I specifically told my friend on the phone, and so did he, to not call the cops, right? The girl called the cops. I don't know how, when, what, where, why. But things are calm, and I'm like, okay, I just want to get out this car. I got to use the restroom. I'm going to go home, shower. This nightmare is all going to go away. Nope. All we hear is, we're talking, and it's quiet. And all I hear is, whew, whew. I'm like, oh, hell no. So, when I tell you I was so scared, like, really, truly, like, I was genuinely so scared because I like to de-escalate situations. She did the one thing I told her not to do. I don't know why.
What do you mean? Maybe I don't have a special ability to come track some people down and help your goofy ass? Girl, you're cooked. I would have called the police too. And I'm a man. I'm sorry. My friend has been kidnapped by the world's most wanted criminal, supposedly. Can you go get her? I don't see why she's so confused, but let's keep watching.
Because she said she called her dad, and her dad was like, you need to call the cops. And I'm like, bro, you want to listen to your father when I'm in the situation, not your daddy? So anyway, he looked over at me. He said, yo, did you call the cops? I was like, how? I was here the whole time. Like, he goes and looks at me. He's like, it looks like he's like reaching for his gun, and he starts shaking his head. He's like, it was your friend. It was your friend. It was your motherfucker. And I'm just like, oh my God. The guy who is calm crazy is now crazy crazy. So he starts speeding. I mean, he does not stop. So now I'm on a wild goose chase. He looks at me while he's driving, and he's just like shaking his head. He's like, yo, he's like, and I don't want to hurt you, man. I don't want to hurt you. And I'm like, 24 hours ago, you were saying how I could be the one. Now you want to hurt me. He's looking at me like, yo, shaking his head. And I'm just like, it was not me. I don't know why she did. I said, yo, let me just roll out the car. I could roll out the car. He was like, Chelsea, he's like, I don't know what we're gonna do, but he's like, and I'm like, we? Ever since when did I become part of this I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a hostage. We? What's a oh, we? So now it gets worse. Like, he's in the car, he's freaking out, and then he has like this death stare. He's just like, and I'm like, oh my God, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So we're driving, he's speeding. At this point, I've accepted the fact that we are on the run together, okay? I start hearing a helicopter. That's when it all really becomes real to me. I'm just like, oh my gosh, what if they start shooting the car or something? Like, what if they're just like, I can't. This situation gets crazier by the second. So now, the helicopters are flying, the cop cars are following us, and he's speeding, and he's freaking out. He's like, I knew I should have never went out with you. I knew it. Oh my gosh. This is all because of you. And I'm just like, all because of me? How are you blaming me? You the one that did the crime. Oh, so you don't want to do the time. First of all, who know that they're on a run and signs up for a dating app looking for love? You a criminal looking for love? On a run? Make it make sense. But clearly he's only smart enough to rob banks, not smart enough to hide. Anyway, I digress. So the car is speeding, and now he's like, I'm starting to realize like he's outrunning the cop cars. And so he's going miles per hour. I mean, it's like almost he prepared for this day just in case, right? He pulls out his gun and he's like, listen, I'm gonna need you to calm down. Whole time I was calm. I mean, inside I was like, but I just sucked up my breath and said, girl, we got this. He's the one that's freaking out. So I'm like, okay. So I'm looking at the gun. I'm like, this man finna shoot me. Listen. Also, I know how to stay calm under pressure, but this is like the first situation I've ever been in that's like crazy like this. So I'm sitting here like, I just want to get out of here in one piece. That's all. So I'm like, I'm calm. Don't worry about it. Like, I'm good. And he's like, okay. He's like, we're going to go somewhere. I'm like, go somewhere? So I'm just here trying to figure out, how does this man plan on escaping this entire fiasco, right? And also, if he does, where are we going to go? Because I am really not prepared to go on a run with this guy, right? And I really hope that these cops know I'm a hostage. I don't believe it or not. We outrun the cops. Like, I mean, we outran the police. I've never seen anything like this before. I wish I was making this stuff up. I've never seen anything like this before. So he's really on the run. At this point, I realized what once was like a date turned a little bit of disaster, you know, and me just getting away scotch clean turned into a whole entire hostage situation, right? And this whole time, I'm sitting here trying to figure out, how do I keep this man calm? How do I keep him calm? How do I let him know that I'm not like, I didn't make that phone call? And remember, the phone call, right? To the cops. Remember this part. So anyway, we end up driving. He's looking around. And I also had to say, what's the point of police helicopters? Because aren't y'all supposed to identify where we're at? You're up in the sky. You can see us. You're shining the light and then we disappear. How? How does that even happen? I promise y'all. I was scared when I heard the chopper, because I was like, oh my God, what if they start shooting at the car? But I also was thinking, wait, but they're going to be able to find us and stop this madness, right? No, they lost us. So we're driving, right? And he's still speeding until he realizes that we don't have to anymore, right? So I noticed that the car is running out of gas. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness, right? Just my luck. He goes and says, the car is running out of gas. I'm going to go pop the trunk, get more gas, and fill up my car. I'm like, he came prepared. I mean, the guy really came prepared, had a stash and everything. Like, this was his getaway car. And he goes and says to me, he looks at me, he's like, I'm trusting you not going to do nothing stupid, because I don't want to have to do something stupid to you. Say no more. I'm smart. I'm intelligent. I won't do anything stupid. I won't. I won't. All I'm gonna do is sit here and plan my escape a smart way. So I'm sitting here, I'm just like thinking about my friend, like, why would she do that? So I can't make any phone calls because the guy had my phone and he threw it out the window, especially when he heard the cop cars. And at this point, I'm just like, great, my friend had to go and call the cops. I'm sitting there and I'm quiet and I'm thinking, why would she do that though? This is my best friend, by the way. So I'm thinking, why would she do that, right? And then it occurs to me, there's a reward. So now I'm like, I just know she didn't put my safety at risk for money. Because I wouldn't do that to her. Like, I genuinely wouldn't do that to her.
You put her safety at risk for some. What are you talking about? Is this gaslighting, Messy Fam? The girl did the right thing. Messy Family, do y'all feel like the friend did the right thing or do y'all feel like she did the wrong thing? I'm with the friend on this one. This girl tripping.
So I'm like, she wouldn't do that. But then I think she called her dad. And her daddy, straight up con. So I'm just like, oh, her dad told her to cash out. Or he was planning on cashing out and just acted like he cared, like he was really concerned for my safety. Let me say, I don't think I understand. I know her, but I know him. And the story she's told me, the way he just be moving is like money first, money first. So I just know that this man was like, yeah, we got to make sure Chelsea's okay. Back in his head, he's like, yo, this reward is about to be crazy. So I'm sitting down and I'm getting really mad. I'm in this car and I'm getting pissed off because I'm just like, yo, why would anyone do that to me? So he gets in the car now and he's looking at me. He's like, why you look mad? I'm like, what you mean why I look mad? I'm on the run and I don't want to be on the run. And he's like, yo, calm down. I'm like, no. I was like, because I just realized, like, I got played. And he's like, you got played. He's like, I'm the one that got played because you told me you wouldn't call the cops. I was like, did I call the cops? And he's like, then he looks at me and he's like, he's like, oh, he was like, it's your friend, isn't it? So now I see a little twinkle in his eye, like an angry twinkle. And it hits me. I'm like, ooh, see, I'm not going to throw my friend under the bus because I need to make sure that she didn't do this, to set me up. But I just felt like she did it. But I see this look in his eye like, I'm going to hurt her. And I'm just like, I look at him, I was like, she wouldn't do for money if that's what you're thinking. She was really just concerned for my safety. Here I am, still being loyal and still being thoughtful because I don't want nothing to happen to my friend, right? But at this point, too, I'm sure he ain't finna risk going back to go find her, to hurt her because he's really trying to go on the run. So, he starts like, bucking himself up and he's like, all right, we got to go. And I'm just like, so where we going? And he's like, you ask a lot of questions. I'm like, my life here is at stake, so I think I should ask you questions. And he looks at me, he's like, and he turns his head back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yo, he about to get rid of me. So we driving, and at this point, it's really quiet in the car. I'm just keeping myself calm because I'm just like, this cannot be happening to me right now. Wow, I was just having Italian pasta, and now I'm on the run. So it's late, super late. He looks wired, and he goes and says, new plan. And I'm like, what's the new plan? He's like, I got a homie. We're going to stop by his crib. And I'm going to think about where we're going to go after. I'm like, I don't know his homie. And you cannot start adding other people into the equation. Because at this point, his friend could be crazy. And if his friend knows what he does and he trusts this person, his friend could just be like, you got to get rid of her. And I'm just sitting here like, oh my gosh. I've seen enough movies, y'all. So I'm like, you can't just drop me off somewhere? And he's like, he looks at me, he's like, yo, stop. Hey, y'all, so I'm back with part 5. I saw the comments, so here we go. Last when we left off, he said to me, he was like, we're going to go to my friend's house, and then I'm going to figure out what we're going to do after. And I was like, you can't just drop me off? And he looked at me like, stop. And that's when I was like, okay. He's getting scary about a moment. So this whole time we're driving, and I'm in disbelief that we beat the freaking cops. Like, we've managed to escape the cops. I was hoping to be rescued, but clearly they had other plans and he had a better one. So we're driving, and at this point I'm really like super tired and I'm trying to stay up. I'm trying my hardest to stay up, but I feel my eyes like closing and then opening back up again and then closing. And at this point I knocked out, right? I was trying to fight my sleep the whole time. I was trying to stay up so I could pay attention to where we're at, where we're going, and my eyes had other plans, right? So I knocked out. I'm sleeping. But I don't know if you guys have ever felt like, like let's say you're running late to school or to work, and then you fall asleep and you oversleep, and while you're sleeping, you remember in your dream, wait, you got to be at work or you got to be at school. So you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh. Literally, that's what happened to me in the car. So I'm literally knocked out and I just wake up and I'm like, oh my God. Because I remembered I'm supposed to stay up. When I open my eyes, I noticed I'm the only one in the car. So at this point, I'm like coming out of this like confusion, the sleep confusion. I'm like, wait, I'm in a car by myself. So I'm looking, I'm like, okay, this is my perfect escape to get out, right? I don't know where I'm at. I don't know how long I've been sleeping for, but all I know is this is my time to get out the car, right? So I quickly take the seatbelt off and I look around. I'm like, okay, I don't see no one. And it's like, give or take probably like 5 a.m. because at this point the car is off, right? And I don't have my phone. So I can't really tell what time it is. So I'm just looking. I'm like, okay, it looks like the sun is about to come up soon. And let me just try to get out of here so I can run. So we're parked up by like what seems like this gas station-ish kind of thing. And I automatically remembered he had gas in the car. So he didn't make a pit stop to, pick up gas or anything like that. So I'm just taking it as maybe he just left the car like stranded for me to just go, and he figured while I'm asleep this is a perfect time for him to escape. So I'm like, it's time for me to escape, right? So while I was knocked out, by the way, I had my legs crossed in like this really like awkward position, and the perfect time for my left leg to fall asleep. So I'm just like, right? And I'm like, all right, we're gonna have to wake up because we gotta go. So I'm just like lifting my leg, trying to shake it off, and I open the door. And I'm like, please don't make too much noise. I open the door. I'm like, okay, perfect. I'm lifting up my leg and I'm looking down, right? I remember I was like looking down, like lifting up my left leg, and I'm just like trying to like, I don't know what I was trying to do, but I was just trying to duck, get out the car. Literally, as I open the door and I'm getting ready to go, he comes out of nowhere. I don't know where this man came from. I promise you, I don't know. I just know he came like a thief in the night. Oh, well, he is a thief in the night. This man looked at me and said, where you going? And I was like, to shake my leg. And he was like, I told you not to do nothing stupid. So where do you think you're going? And I was like, I was going to shake my leg and I was just looking for you to. Y'all, this man grabbed me by my jacket and went and said, I told you to stop. I told you. We're in this because of you. And I'm sitting here like, no, we're in this because of you. And he's literally looking at me like, yo, stop. Get in the car and sit down. So I'm just like, oh, whoa. You don't got to tell me twice. At this point, I've accepted I'm on a run. I'm being held against my will. I'm on the run. This is a hostage situation. Okay. It's like, you know what? Let me just go with whatever his plan is just so I can get home. Right? Cool. So at this point, I got in the car. I put my seatbelt on. I'm sitting down and I just look up and I'm just like, how did I get into this? Like, how? Because he's fine? Because he's gorgeous? I'm trying my hardest to stay optimistic and I'm thinking about other schemes, right? Like this whole time I'm like, girl, just be cool, calm, and collected and think. Just think. So I sit down and I'm thinking, okay, we're just going to go back on the road and I'm going to try to keep my eyes open so I can pay attention. Y'all, wow. It's like he could read my mind. Literally. This man comes to my side of the passenger seat, right? Opens the door, takes my hands, and he's like, give them to me. And I'm just like, I don't want you touching me. He's like, give me your hands. I'm like, why? He's like, he looks at me, I'm like, all right, here. Because he has this look, right? And it's like, it's a little sexy, I can't lie. It's just a little sexy. It's just dangerous, but it's also like, oh, I shouldn't try you because you're a little crazy, and I know what you did. And I don't want to be the first victim you really hurt. So, or maybe I don't know about this. Who knows? But we ain't going to find out tonight. We're not going to find out today. I'm going to just listen. So I give the man my hands, and he ties it up. And I'm like, all right, whatever, cool. So all jokes aside, I'm actually very scared at this point, right? But in true Chelsea Sagittarius fashion, I can't take anything serious, even the most serious moments. I'm very unserious. It's not my fault. I was born this way. So he goes, he ties my hands, and he has a bandana. He puts it around my eyes, and I just go and say, ooh, kinky. So he laughs, he chuckles a little, and that's when I'm like, okay, good. Back on his good side. Be smart, be cool. Get him to remember he likes me. Don't kill me. You like me. I'm adorable, right? Whatever. So I go and say to him, like, why are you covering my eyes? Like, why? Why? And he's like, because he's like, I'm not stupid. Like, you don't need to know where my friend lives. You don't need to know where we're going. I'm like, I don't need to know where we're going. You took me against my will on a road trip. That is illegal. An illegal road trip. And you don't think I should know where I'm going? But I realize I ask way too many questions, and that's rule number one. When you're in a whole bad situation, it's, like, you're just not supposed to ask too many questions. But for me, I'm just like, you just gotta at least give me something. We was cool 24 hours ago, literally. And now I'm on a whole joyride to...
I'm starting to think this girl is just as crazy as him. When she said Bonnie and Clyde, she was not lying. She really is on some Bonnie shit. She just said she's a Sagittarius, so it started to make a little more sense why she ain't got it all there. She's a Sagittarius.
Knows where? Possibly the end of me? Tell me. He's just like, yo, can you just shut up? And I'm just like, wow, okay. Good to know. We're getting to know each other at a very fast rate. And this is how it would have ended up if we were together. But fine, I'll shut up. Me saying this all with my eyes tied up and my hands tied up. So whatever. He gets in a car and he starts driving, right? And it's really hitting me that, like, I'm so scared. Like, I'm really scared for my life. And I don't know where I'm going to end up. I don't know who his friend is. And it's just, all of this is just bad. Like, and it's... So I started thinking about my mom, and I just started thinking about how I want to get back home. And I'm like, I'm worried that she's worried about me, and like my family's worried about me because I don't even know how big this situation is. He won't turn the radio on. And it's kind of weird for a man who's like on the run. I would think he would want to hear what's going on, but he literally just is dead silent. So he goes and says to me, he's like, yo, I'm going to tell you something. I'm like, what? He's like, do not make eye contact with my friend. Don't look at him. Don't look at his girl. Mind your business. Go to where they tell you to go and just shut up. So we pull into what I assume is the place that we're supposed to be at, right? And I could just hear the car like turning off. And that's when my heart is going boom, 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 boom. Because I don't know what's about to happen. I can't see nothing. So he finally gets me out the car. He unties my hand, which I thought was kind of crazy because I was like, okay, now you trust me. And then he takes a bandana off of my face and he looks at me. He's like, you're okay. You're going to be okay. I was like, I'm getting kidnapped. This feels like he's like, you're not kidnapped. He's like, I am trying to find a way for us to depart without causing any more issues. I'm like, whatever. So we enter what looks like a safe house. I've never it had no numbers, so I can't even identify like the number of the home or nothing. It's like it was planned. Like this is like a planned place, right? In comes this guy, who I must say is fine as well too. And I'm just like, it's just a bunch of y'all fine ass criminals. Where is this? Where all the fine men are at? In the criminal land, in safe houses, robbing banks, stealing people. So I try not to make eye contact, but it is hard. But I'm like, girl, remember, you are here against your will. He is not your friend. He's the enemy. So the guy friend, right, who is around, isn't mean, doesn't have like bad energy. He's actually quite pleasant, right? So I'm not as scared. There's like a weird comfort that like a comforting relief that I get around his friend for some reason, because I just feel like he's not going to hurt me. But he has this girl who I later find out is a side girl, right? And when she sees me, it's like she just has a stinkest attitude. So they tell me I have to go in this room. The room has no television. It has like a window, but you can't open the window because I tried, obviously. There's books and there's a bed, right? So I just go and I sit down. I'm just like, what did I get myself into? So she comes in and she like opens the door. She checks on me. She's like, do you want something to eat? Do you want something to drink? Like, and I'm like, no, I'm okay. Because I'm not drinking nothing from these people nor eating. Next thing you know, I'm knocked out. I don't know where I'm at again. Like, what? So probably not more than, let's say, give or take 5-10 minutes, right? After she busts open the door and says, what do you want to drink? What do you want to eat? And has this whole entire attitude. I hear commotion between her guy, and Bank Robber Bay, right? And, they're kind of going back and forth. And I'm trying to figure out who's really arguing with who. If it's, the guy at Bank Robber Bay or her. All I hear is her and him, her and her guy. All I hear is her scream out, well, we need to get rid of her. She's seen too much. We got to get rid of her. I don't like her in here. This is bringing too much drama. All this. I don't need this. I don't need to be around here. I'm just like, that's when I'm like, I got to go where? So that's when the Brooklyn in me comes out, because I'm ready to scrap. Because first of all, maybe the bank robber scared me, right? But girl, I know you ain't do no crime. I just know you here because you down for the ride and you think these guys are, exciting and whatnot. I will whoop her. So I'm ready. I'm just sitting there and I'm going back and forth. Like I'm swinging back and forth. Like, ain't nobody gonna touch me. Ain't nobody gonna touch me. So as I'm really getting prepared, all I hear is her guy gonna say, you don't run nothing in here. You don't run nothing. You're not even my for real. So know your place and shut up and mind your business before I put you in the room with her. And I'm like, oh, we know who called the shots. Not you, boo. Threatening my life. So then I calm down again, right? And I'm just like, okay, so we don't know what's going on at this point. I don't know what's going on. And I'm just really trying to be nosy. I get up, try to put my ear to the door. I'm just nervous, right? So I go back and I sit down. They're like whispering really, really low. And I sit on this bed and I close my eyes. And you would not believe what this guy's girl did. You wouldn't believe. Let's get to it, part 6. Last we talked, I was on the bed and I was closing my eyes and flies open the room door and comes in the side girl. And she looks at me and I'm looking at her like, and she's like, let me tell you something. I know you think you heard what you thought you heard, but I actually run in here. And I don't want you here. I need you out. I said to her, I was like, girl, I don't want to be here. I'm trying to leave. And she looks at me. She's like, and another thing, I saw you staring at my man. So she was like, I need you to keep your eyes at the wall. I said, yo, who do you think you're talking to? Secondly, ain't nobody want your dusty ass man. Like, what? So that's when she looks at me. She's like, what you said? And I was like, nobody wants your man. And that's when the girl mushes my face. So keep in mind, things have not actually gotten violent during this whole entire ordeal, right? This is the first time someone puts their hands on me, let alone my face. I mean, so I looked at her and I said, and I swung at that girl. When I tell you I swung, I beat.
Some coffee. Let me get some coffee. All right, let's try this again with some coffee because, oh Lord, I ain't gonna lie to you. I need a boost of energy sometimes because I ain't gonna lie, I got a short attention span.
Like grabbing on me, she's grabbing on my hair, and she's attacking me, and I'm fighting her back, because at this point, I have all this pent-up aggression, because I'm like, I don't want to be here. I should have never, ever gone on that date. I don't know these people, and someone thinks that they could just put their hands on me, so I'm beating her up, and she's attacking me, and that's when I hear Bank Robber Babe go and say, hey, stop that, and she's just like on top of me at this point, and all I see is him grab her from the back of her hair and flies her across the room, and he looks at me, he's like, you good? And her man is there too, and her man's like, yo, what's going on? And she's like, I don't want her. So she's saying, I don't want them in my house. I don't want them here. They're up here ruining things. Now they bring up drama to us. This ain't it. And you think you can talk to me? He just goes, he's like, grabs her. He's like, yo, what do you think you're doing? And so Bank Robber Bay goes and says, yo, don't put your hands on her. Don't you ever put your hands on her. He's talking to that girl. And I'm just like, and he looks at me. He's like, you okay? You okay? Sit down. And he goes and he looks at his mans and he's like, yo, control your shorty. And that's when his friend goes and says, yo, chill. You a guest here. And that's when I'm just like, well, there's a lot going on. Like a lot. So now Bank Robber Bay goes and says, yo, with all due respect, I came here because you my mans. But I didn't come here to make things worse. Now I need to make sure shorty's good. But you need to make sure that she don't attack her. I know we're guests here, but don't make sure she doesn't put hands on her. And so at this point, I'm really like, Bank Robber Bay, not really, he's trying to protect me. So I look at him a little, like, because it's like this weird thing that happens. It's like, I mean, we in this because of you, but you're also making sure that, like, I'm not physically harmed. So, okay, just a lot. And, he also, like, really pulled that girl off of me. Oh, that was whooping her. But still, he pulled her off of me, and I don't know, it just made me realize, like, okay, in that second, it made me look at him a little differently. But I still remember I'm mad at him, right? Cool. And so him and his friend just look at each other, and it's like, things are fine, right? But the girl is looking at me like she does not like me. She just has a stank. Let me add, homegirl looked a little dusty anyway. So I was just like, okay. But she's looking at me with the stankiest face, like, ugh. And I think she was more so embarrassed because her man checked her in front of like Bank Robber Bay, and I heard. It was loud enough for the whole world to hear. So I think it's just a lot of like feelings of like humiliation, but also, of course, like just not wanting people in her space because she don't want drama. Cool. I don't want to be there. Girl, I want to go home. I'm here against my will. So, whatever, right? So now they leave. Bank Robber Bay comes to me. I'm sitting on the bed and I'm just pissed off because I'm just like, yo, like, I'm like sitting there like, y'all really got me messed up. I was really messed up from the beginning, but now you really got me messed up. So he looks at me, he's like, yo, I'm sorry. He's like, I am sorry. And I'm looking at him like, sorry is not going to cut it. And he's like, no, he was like, Chelsea, he was like, I really just wanted to take you out. And I should have never taken you out. I should have never put you in harm's way. I should have never, I should have just went about my day. But he was like, I was feeling you. I am messing up this whole entire thing for myself. And I'm just listening to him ramble. And I'm like, I cut him off. I'm like, you should have never been on a dating website. You're on the run. So he looks at me. He's like, you're right. He's like, you're right. He's like, then he's just looking at me. He's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not okay. Like, I got attacked. What do you think? And he looks at me. He's just like, he touches my face and he's like, yo, you good? Like, rubbing my face. And he just looks at me. He's like, and I'm looking at him like, damn, this man is still so freaking beautiful and fine. Gosh. But I'm still pissed off because I'm like, this isn't how I imagine my night. So he's gazing and I'm gazing and I'm like, this feels weird. I hope this man don't think he about to get a kiss out of me. And I look at him like, you better back up. And he's like, he laughs. And I'm just like, then he goes and says to me, he's like, in all seriousness, he's like, I'm gonna get you home. He's like, I'm gonna find a way for me to be out of this situation, for you to be out of the situation. But he's like, nobody's gonna touch you. No one's gonna lay a finger on you. He was like, and I'm not gonna hurt you at all. So there was something comforting though about that. And I'm realizing more and more, I'm like, oh, this man don't want extra charges. He really just wants to go about his business. So I go and say, you really not gonna hurt me? And he's like, if I wanted to hurt you, I would have hurt you a long time ago. He's like, I'm just trying to separate from you and go about my business, bro. I said, okay, because you really could have just left me out on the freeway and I would have found my way home. He was like, how? We were on the run. And I'm like, no, you were on the run. Me? I was just coming from a date. Okay. So I'm really tired and I decided to take like a power nap for like just 20 minutes. Let's say no more than 30 minutes because I have been keeping my eyes open and I just got into a fight. I exerted so much energy. So I lay my head down and yeah, I take this 20-minute power nap, right? And then I wake up and I see him just watching me while I'm sleeping. Like he's just watching me. And I'm not going to hold you. I open my eyes and I see a very beautiful face. And I'm just like, oh. But then I remember, oh, you got me here. I don't want to be here. So I look at him, I'm like, why are you staring at me? He's like, no, he's like, you're just so beautiful. Like, he's like, you're really beautiful. And I'm like, there is no time for romance. This is what got us here in the first place. I was like, sir, stop. You're being creepy. So we really get to talking again, and I'm dozing off though. Like he's telling me about how it was for him growing up and how things are really, really tough for him. He didn't have his pops around and his mom was really like trying her best to like take care of him and his siblings. But you know, he just wanted a better life for himself and he didn't see himself getting that without doing the things that he did. So I was like, that's really unfortunate, like because you could have went a different direction. But I do know that some people aren't granted the same advantages. So I really try not to judge, but I did want him to understand you shouldn't go bank robbing. Like you shouldn't go around robbing banks. I'm like, let alone just people. So, you know, I end up like closing my eyes again, right? And then I'm probably out cold for 2 hours. I wake up to like a blanket and, you know, him like with his head against the wall, just looking at me and then looking away. And I'm just like, okay, this guy really watched me sleep, but whatever, right? So I look at him, I'm like, can I please use the bathroom? I'm not gonna do nothing stupid. And he's like, trust me, I don't think you would do anything stupid here. But okay, he's like, you're good. He's like, go use the bathroom. I was like, okay, cool. So I get to tiptoeing, right? And the bathroom, like the toilet is the bathroom is far out, like down the hallway, right? But there is a bedroom that's probably like a like it's like 2 doors down, so you got to pass this one bedroom to get to the bathroom. So I had to pass this bedroom, right? But I hear someone whispering, like talking in the bedroom. And let me also mention, his friend, like his the guy that, you know, whose place that is in the living room watching television. So I know it's not him. And I notice it's the girl voice. So it's the girl, the side girl. So I hear her talking and it sounds like she's like rambling, but it feels suspect. So something in me said, girl, listen in, right? Don't know why I'm being nosy in other people's house, but my safety's on the line. So I'm listening in and she goes and she says, yeah, they here. And I'm like, and she's like, so what should I do? What you think I should do? Yeah. And I'm like, what you mean what you should do? So at this point, I'm like, something about this girl I don't trust. See, I already don't trust Bank Robber Babe, but I really don't trust this one, right? Plus, she already attacked me. So she's not having it. So I quickly go back to that room. I tiptoe myself back in that room. I open the door. He's sitting there. He looks up at me. He's like, what? I'm like, we need to go. He's like, what are you talking about? We need to go. I'm like, we need to leave. And he's like, why? I said, she's on the phone with someone right now, and she just told them we're here. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, she's on the phone with someone right now. She told them we're here.
Now you're a damn accomplice? Are you a hostage anymore? I'm not gonna lie to y'all, this video is stressing me the hell out. Now, are you even trying to go home at this point? You've been locked up in this place for how long? Don't tell me it's only been a day. It had to been like a few days by now. Y'all been driving, y'all done stopped over people's houses. Tell me this all happened in one day. But let's keep watching. This don't make no damn sense.
I don't think you want to find out who that is. And he looks at me, he says, say less. He was like, sit down. And I was like, so at this point, we don't know who she called. I don't know who she called, but something about that, like that, the way she was talking felt very eerie. Like it just felt so eerie. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, so he gets up and he walks out the room, but the door's a little cracked. So I quickly get up and tiptoe to look over to see what's gonna happen. And he goes and he like shouts over to his homeboy. He's like, yo. And his homeboy goes and he's like, what's up? And he's like, let me talk to you real quick. And nods, right? And his homeboy goes, says, yeah. And yo, y'all would not believe who she called. And I promise you, it is not what you think. Y'all, this situation gets crazier by the second. Hey y'all, thank you so much for waiting. I'm so sorry for the long hold, but I have part 7 here for you. Before we jump into part 7, I do want to say something weird happened yesterday. Someone from the story, from this entire situation, has commented on one of my photos on Instagram, threatening to send a cease and desist because they just feel like I shouldn't be telling this story because it involves them. One, I haven't said any names yet. Secondly, I can say whatever I want and I can share whatever I want because I experienced this. This situation has been traumatizing to me, to say the least, and I personally don't feel like I should be held silent. I should be kept silent. I'm going to speak my truth. So I appreciate everyone that's been supporting and listening to this story. This is a real situation that has happened and it is traumatizing, to say the least. So you can go ahead, comment on my photos on Instagram, threatening to send a cease and desist. I'm still going to speak my truth. So here we go. Last we left off, he had, called his friend over. He's like, yo, we need to talk. And his friend was like, okay, cool. So I have my head popping on out because the door was like cracked open in a way where I can kind of see what's going on. But I didn't want to like pull the door even more because it makes a creak sound. So I didn't, they were like really like whispering. I mean, this guy could whisper better than me, obviously, because he heard me whispering through his bathroom door. But that's besides the point. Anyway, so he's whispering. And I decided, I'm like, you know what, let me just go sit down because I don't want to, I just don't want to keep popping my head out and being in this man's business because he looked very scary when he got up, when I told him, right? So granted, I am still very scared, right? Me and Bank Robber Bay, like, got this weird kind of situation happening. Like, I do not trust this man. I don't trust anyone in this entire situation. But something about him kind of gives me the vibe that he doesn't want to necessarily hurt me. He just wants, he, like I said, like in the last episode, he wants me out of his hair. But the other girl, she just gave me vibes like she really wants to hurt me, right? I don't know what that's all about. So whatever. So anyway, I hear a couple whispers, right? Some whispers happening. And all I hear is the Bank Robber Bay's friend go and say, word. And that's when I'm like, so he's like, I bet. So it's quiet. It's quiet for like, let's say like 10 seconds, 10, 15 seconds, right? And then I start hearing footsteps and they pass the room that I'm in, right? So I see like their bodies like pass the door and I'm just like, and I promise you, y'all, it was quiet. Like a pin could have dropped and you would have heard it, right? And all I hear is, boom, the door kicks open. And she's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's like, who are you on the phone with? She's like, what are you talking about? I'm just laying here. He's like, who are you on the phone with? And she's just like, I wasn't talking to anybody. You tripping. You going crazy. Like, blah, 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 blah. And they're going back and forth. And he says, give me your phone. And she's like, no. So she's really standing 10 toes down on the no. You can't have my phone. He's like, yo, this is the last time I'm going to tell you, give me your phone. And she's like, I don't care what you do. You can't have my phone. Y'all, all I heard was I promise you guys, I could hear a gun cock. I don't care. That's the one thing. I'm from Brooklyn, so I can hear a gun cock from a mile away. And she goes and she says, you really gonna pull that out on me? He said, yo, you know better than to test me. You know better than to test me. And she's like, I can't give you my phone. He's like, why? She's like, I can't give you my phone. He's like, yo, I'm gonna put this thing somewhere you don't want me to. Give me your phone. Yo, this girl starts crying and she gives the phone, right? So she's crying hysterically, and she's just saying, I didn't mean to. And he's like looking, and I don't hear nothing from him, right? She's just really crying. So in the back of my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, although me and this girl just got into a fight, I don't want nothing to happen to her. Like, I mean, I don't want a death on my account. So I'm just like, what is happening? So keep in mind, I'm in the other room, right? So I can hear what's happening because they're loud enough, but I don't hear the guys talking. I'm just hearing her crying, saying, please don't, please don't, please don't. Yo, 2 seconds later, all I hear is footsteps running. And I'm thinking it's her, but it's the guy. That's Bank Robber Bay, right? Bank Robber Bay kicks open the door. He's like, we need to leave right now. I'm like, okay, what's happening? He's like, we need to go. Stop asking questions. We gotta go. So as I'm like literally like kicking my shoes back on, because I took my shoes off because I was on the bed. You know, I don't put my shoes on nobody's bed. But I'm putting my shoes back on and I'm putting my jacket on, and all I hear is him saying, you call Kilo? So I'm just like, who's Kilo? So, yo, this is the first time I'm seeing real fear in Bank Robber Bay's eyes. Like, he looked like, yo, we need to leave, right? So while Bank Robber Bay's friend is screaming in the background saying, you called this man, I'm sitting here trying to figure out, yo, who is this guy? And why are we afraid? I thought we were afraid of the cops. Well, I thought he was afraid of the cops. And low-key, I was hoping she called the cops because I'm trying to go back home. Like, come on. So yes. So Bank Robber friend goes and says, yo, you need to dip. You know where to go. Go. And I'm just like, we're going someplace else. And now we on another run. And I'm just like, bro, I need a shower at this point. I need to brush my teeth. And I'm feeling a little dusty. I don't want to look like the girl in here. But I'm also really like a little concerned because while we were leaving, I saw like you can see like the door was wide open to that other room, and you can see like he has his hands on her neck, and she's just like, I'm sorry, and he's like, go. He's telling us like, go. He's like, I'm gonna handle this, but he was like, you know where to go. So I'm just like, so we're running now. He's like, we're running out the house, and we're just like jumping in the car, right? So I see Bank Robber Bay. Before we actually jumped in the car, I saw him like grab like some bag, right? This like big black bag, and it looked like it was a little heavy. I was like, what the hell is that? But you know, I got no time to think. So he throws that bag in like the trunk in like this weird compartment. Like I'm telling you guys, this guy was like prepared, right? But whatever. So he throws it in the trunk in this weird compartment. I hop in the car. He's like, put your seatbelt on. And the garage door opens. And I'm just scared because I'm just like, what if there's people on the other side of the garage door? Because I still don't know who Kilo is yet, right? So There isn't anyone on the other side of the garage door. Like when the garage door opens, I'm like, okay, cool. So we zip speeding out of that. Like, I mean, that man did a quick little back up, blah, blah, blah. And now we're speeding and speeding and speeding. And he's like looking side to side, making sure that no one is around. And I'm like nervous because I'm just like, what if we're going into the people that are coming? Apparently, like this Kilo person that this girl called, what if like Kilo is coming like towards us while we're going towards him to like, you know, find him or whatever? Because I'm still trying to figure out who is Kilo. So I don't see anyone. He's still looking like from his peripheral. I can see he's like looking side to side, and I'm just nervous because like just like, you know, not too long ago, probably like a few hours ago, like he was calmer and I felt like, okay, like he was a lot more level-headed and I could speak with him. But now he looks like he doesn't care about nobody, nothing. Like it's just him against this world. And I'm just like, remember, I'm still here. I'm a victim, baby. I'm a hostage. Don't hurt me. I'm your friend. So as he's driving, he goes and he says, yo, I'm like, yes. He's like, remember when I said I'm not gonna let anything happen to you? I'm like, yes. He's like, I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. He's like, but things might get a little crazy. I'm like, why? He's like, I need you not to ask too many questions. I was like, okay, but who's Kilo? Like, and why are things about to get crazy? Because now this is my, like, you're really playing with my life here now. And I need you to stop. He then proceeds to say, Kilo is someone that does not need to be involved in what's happening right now and should not know that I am here. I'm like, why? He's like, well, I'm like, just tell me straight up, just spit it out, bro, because I don't got time for this. I was like, I just want to go home. I owe Kilo some money. It's what the man says to me. I say, bro, are you stealing from everybody? Like, really? Did you steal from me when I was asleep? So he goes and says, I can't get into it, but I owe him some money and he does not want me alive, period. And I'm like, so how many people are you on the run from? We're just saying, like, give or take what? 1, 2, 3, 10. Like, how many people are we talking, right? Then I say to him, and why would you go on a dating app when you know that you owe people money, as if someone might not find you? Like, I'm just so confused. So at this point, I'm convinced that Bank Robber Bay ain't that smart. Because, like, what? Like, what? So this man has the audacity to say to me, look, you just need to trust me. I'm like, trust you? You think I should trust you? So I'm just baffled. And then I realize, oh, he's crazy. No, he's actually crazy. And he's dangerous. And now I'm like, I'm in a car with someone that's crazy and dangerous. And those two don't go together. So I just look at this guy and say, I don't trust you, but can you just drop me off somewhere? Just drop me off. You can figure out what to do with Kilo and the police and FBI and whoever is after you. Shoot. So then he just looks at me. He's like, yo, just shut up. Just shut up. Shut up before I tie you up. I'm like, okay. I just shut up. So I shut up and I'm like, okay, you know what? Crazy and dangerous. Got it. Cool. So we're driving. And at this point, I'm just annoyed. I don't say nothing to him. And I'm also keeping in mind, though, that I don't have the bandana over my eyes anymore. So I'm just like, yes, I could pay attention to like street signs and stuff like that. But it's like, how do I say it? It's still not telling where we're at, but I'm keeping a mental note of certain street signs that I did see. And we're like, I mean, like in the boondocks, y'all. Like boondocks, right? So he drives to this house. First of all, thoroughly impressed because the house is huge and beautiful, like beautiful. And I'm like, where are we going? Because this is a far stretch from where we just came from. And I'm like, who is this? Like, so I look at him. I'm like, is this where we're going? He looks at me. He's like, you want to keep asking questions? I'm like, you're right. Noted. Not going to ask questions. So we pull into this long driveway, right, y'all? And beautiful, beautiful mansion. I mean, just gorgeous, gorgeous house. And as we pull in, I see this man, this older looking mature guy wearing black slack type pants, a belt, black belt, and he has like this black fitted shirt with like a gold necklace around his neck. And like, it's just, he's just giving black money power, right? So I'm just like, okay, but he's also giving danger. So this older, mature looking man, I mean, like, he's fine. He's giving like, he's fine, but he's also giving like head honcho dangerous kind of vibes, right? So we drive in, and he has this guy, the head honcho guy has this younger guy that pulls up like next to him, stands right next to him, and he gives him like a nod to go, or he says something to him to like basically signal him to go get the car from us. So I come out the passenger side, and Bank Robber Bay comes out the driver's side, and the little guy that looked like that worked for the head honcho comes, grabs the keys. So now me and Bank Robber Bay are standing next to each other, walking towards the entrance of this mansion, towards this guy, right? Head honcho guy. And Bank Robber Bay whispers to me, he's like, just be cool. Like, we're good. So I'm just like, okay. So we walk on over, and this man who how do I say this? It's like the energy he's giving is devil in a black suit, okay? Clean, fly, black outfit. You know, he has his like shirt on, but the pantsuit, but he looks good, but he has this look like this. You can see it in his eyes that, oh, this man, I don't trust him. Something about him I don't trust, right? Let me also just punch in real quickly. This man whose mansion we're pulling up to is apparently someone that Bank Robber Bay trusts, like with his whole life, right? So we just left the madness, and we're in front of this mansion, and this guy who seems to me, he's giving like Bank Robber Bay like OG uncle, like a family member, someone that looks over him, like someone that he respects, right? Y'all, we go up the stairs, and something about this entire situation feels off to me, right? So I'm getting the same little eerie feeling I got when I heard the girl on the phone saying they here, right? So we're up the stairs in front of the house entrance, and this man looks at Bank Robber Bay, and he's just like, really? And Bank Robber Bay looks at him like, so he looks at me, and he's like, this is her? And Bank Robber Bay like nods, right? Cool. He says, all right, well, just come inside. Follow me into the house. We follow him to the house. We pass the foyer, and we go into the living room area. As we go in, I instantly spot about 6 or 7 men, right? All have guns. Keep in mind, I don't know any of these men, right? But all I remember was I saw those men, and I looked to my left because Bank Robber Bay is standing right next to me. And as I'm looking to my left, he grabs my hand, squeezes it, and says one word: Kilo. So last we left off, he says Kilo. And I think to myself, oh my God, I need to leave. This just got real. So y'all, we're surrounded, right? I mean, there's no way that I'm getting out this situation, let alone Bank Robber Bay, right? So he just looks at the man that he trusts. Let's call him Jay. He looks at Jay, and Jay looks at him like, go inside. So he goes inside with no pushback. I follow suit, right? I'm shaking. I mean, my heart is like boom, 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 boom. And all I keep thinking is, I should have never went on that date. I could have been home. I'm thinking about my mom. I'm thinking about my friends. I'm thinking about my family. Like, I just want to be home, right? I'm standing very close to Bank Robber Bay, right? Because I'm just like, I don't trust anyone. I don't know anyone here. And this man, some man comes up from behind me and snatches me away from him. And I'm like, no, wait, no, no, no. And Bank Robber Bay's like, yo, don't touch her. So literally, Kilo gets up. As soon as he says, don't touch her, Kilo stands up and goes, or else what? Or else what? And I'm like, oh, I don't know if Bank Robber Bay can keep me safe in this situation. No way. Y'all, tell me why Bank Robber Bay gonna go say, or else I'm gonna do the same thing I did to your shorty. And I go, oh, no. That's it. Pack me up. I'm not getting out of here. They gonna hurt him by hurting me. This man is reckless. He don't care. I knew it. Crazy and dangerous. Crazy and dangerous. That's when Jay intervenes and Jay says, yo, Kilo, I brought you here because I want to settle this for once and for all. And he looks over at Bank Robber. He's like, you keep getting yourself into some drama and mess. And I'm tired of cleaning it up for you. I told you the last time, stay away from here. You're going to come back home. Stay away. Now you came back home to some mess. So now we're going to just handle this. He then goes and says, you brought some little B here. And I'm like, why I gotta be called names? What? Bank Robber Bay goes and he's like, you really set me up? You would really set me up? Really? You brought all these men here and you would set me up? So Jay's looking at him like, watch your tone. I suggest you stop. And I'm just like, y'all, the tension was so thick in the room, you could cut it with a knife. This whole time, Kilo is looking real dangerous, right? Real dangerous. And he has a smirk on his face. Anyway, Jay steps out the middle. I'm by the corner watching all this happen. And there's this man that's just like, I'm like, he's in front of me. But it's the same guy that snatched me away. And I'm trying to figure out if he's with Kilo, if he's with Jay. But all I know is this man is not Bank Robber Bay. And I feel very uncomfortable. And I'm nervous. And I feel like I'm going to cry at this moment, right? But I'm trying to keep it together. So Bank Robber Bay goes and says to Kilo, Kilo, what's up? What's up? How you want to handle this? Kilo goes and says, where's my money? Plus interest. Where's my money? And why would you do that? So Bank Robber Bay gonna say, you know how this business go. You know what's up. Like, you know how this go. But what you want from me now? You want me to say sorry? Because I'm not sorry. And I'm just like, why is he so gangster? It's kind of sexy. But also crazy. Because I'm trying to get out this situation. I want to go home. How many times am I going to say, I want to go home? So Kilo gonna say, I don't need your sorries. He's like, but I am going to take a shorty that's here. I'm like, whoa! So my heart drops and I'm just like, wait, what? I speak up. And Bank Robber Bay says, shh. Bank Robber Bay says, yo, you're not touching her. You're not going to touch her. How much you want? Kilo going to go say, $2 million plus interest. That's when I'm like, hold up. Bank Robber Bay packing like that? He got all that money? Okay. I might have to reconsider this whole situation with him after we get out of this. That's besides the point. So Bank Robber Bay says, nah. He's like, so I'm just like, give him the money because you're not giving him me. I promise you that. So Jay gonna come in the middle and say, Kilo, that's too much. That's too much. I can't authorize this. This is too much. So Kilo gonna say, yo, Jay, with all due respect, I know this is your man's right here, but he took more than enough from me. And I'm like, I don't know what exactly Bank Robber Bay did with him. I just know he says he owes him money, right? So Jay goes and says, Kilo, that's too much. I'm telling you, that's too much. So Kilo and Jay's dynamic is also interesting to me because as dangerous and scary as Kilo looks, it looks like Kilo has a lot of respect for Jay. So he looks at Jay, he's like, Jay, you know what he did. You know I'm not asking for too much. So Jay looks over at Bank Robber Bay, and Bank Robber Bay looks like he don't care. Like he has like death in his eyes, like this very blank stare, like. So Jay looks over at Bank Robber Bay, and he's like, he doesn't really say anything to him. It's just like a signal. Then Bank Robber Bay gives him a look. So then Jay looks at Kilo, he says, Kilo, we're going to have to think about it. Kilo going to go say, that's fine, think about it, because I'm not going nowhere. We got all day. I got my man with me. We good. I'm good, Jay. So now I'm sitting here like, how long is this going to take? I really have to use the restroom at this point, right? Because I'm like, I'm nervous. I'm getting cold. I have this jacket on. It's kind of thin. So I'm just like, oh my God, I want to get out of here. So I do a cough sound. I'm like, and everyone just looks over at me. And I'm like, can I please use the restroom? And I guess I didn't read the room because Bank Robber Bay gives me a look like, and I'm just like, I really got to go. So one of his men, like Kilo's men, go and says, I'll take a J. And I'm assuming this is Kilo's man because all these guys, they're like wearing black and they all look like, they just look like they came together. But anyway, so Jay goes and he's like, all right. And he calls over someone to walk with us, some woman, right? And I'm assuming she works for Jay, like his housekeeper or something like that. And she comes over, and we all three goes to the bathroom, right? So now this guy who's walking me to the bathroom looks very scary. Like, he looks like if I did a quick run, he would just grab me from the back of my hair and I'm done. So I was like trying to think. I'm thinking of all these escapes, but I actually planned, like, I had to use the restroom, but I also went, like, I'm walking so I can look at all these exits just in case, right? So I'm like planning, looking around real quick. We finally get to the restroom. I use the restroom. I look to see if I can open the window just in case, but it's like, it makes a sound. So I'm like, damn, let me not like make too much sound so they don't think that I'm trying to escape. Use the restroom, come back out. I asked the lady, can I have a bottle of water? Because at this point, I'm so thirsty. She gives me a bottle. So she gives me the bottle of water, right? So I also drink this water because I'm like, the more and more I drink, the more I can use the restroom. The more and more I use the restroom, the more and more I can find a ways to get out of here just in case if things get real, right? So, drinking the water and we're walking back. And now, I started hearing like arguments. Like, I started hearing people get loud. And it sounds like Kilo just saying, nah, because what we not going to do is this. Jay, what you not going to do is side with him. Because you know what he did was disrespectful. You know he went against the rules. You know. So I'm just like, and I don't really hear Bank Robber Bay. Because Bank Robber Bay has this like calm nonchalantness about him, right? It's very sexy, but it's very scary. So Jay's just like, you gonna lower your tone in my crib. So we walking in, and the guy that was with us pushes me back. So now I see, because like the guy that took me to the restroom, he pushed me back a little, right? And I take that as a don't come in here. But I see Jay in the middle again saying, yo, he's already, like, and I hear him, he says, he already got some, he's already hot right now. He got too much heat on him right now. He's like, I'm trying to handle that. He's like, but what we gonna handle right now is how much I give. How much I say is the correct amount. And now Kilo's getting mad. Kilo looks like he's like very hot-tempered. He easily gets tempered. So Kilo's like, Jay, I'm not gonna take this. I'm not gonna take this. I told you, when I came here, I came so I can collect him. And that's when Bank Robber Bay say, what? Collect who? Who you gonna collect? Now, I'm also just like looking at all the men Kilo came with. And Bank Robber Bay don't came with me. They outnumber us. And baby, I ain't getting his fight. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not jumping into anybody's fight that I don't know. I was not a part of this. I don't know these people. I barely know Bank Robber Bay, first of all. And he fine, but he ain't that fine for me to get all hurt for. I'm just saying, not right now, baby. Not right now. But anyway, Kilo gets so hot, like, I mean, heated. So what I take away from the situation is, when I went to the restroom, they said that they were going to sit down and think about it, but I guess they came up with a number right then and there. And Kilo didn't like the sound of that. Jay looks like he is mediating the situation, but also it's like whatever he says, go. So I'm assuming they came up with the number and Kilo doesn't like it, but Kilo's getting pissed, like really feeling disrespected, right? So Kilo goes and says, no, Bank Robber Bay goes and says, collect who? Collect who? Who you collecting? That's when Kilo gonna say, you and your B. I'm like, I'm not his B. First of all, I'm not a B. But, and that's when Bank Robber Bay pulls something out and goes, try. So Jay gonna say to Bank Robber Bay, he calls him by his name, he's like, put it down. Put it down. And mind you, it's like he's saying it like Bank Robber Bay is behind him because Jay's in the middle and Kilo is in front of Jay, right? Yo, I swear, I never saw somebody listen to the back of somebody's head, because I was like, oh, okay. So mind you, I'm still peeking. Kilo goes, like Jay goes and says, both of y'all gonna calm down. Kilo, this is the number. You not happy with it? Kilo goes and says no. He's like, what do you want to do? That's what Jay says. Kilo goes and says, Jay, I'm gonna need you to revisit that number. So Jay goes and says, let me sit on it. Kilo goes and say, I'm gonna stay here and wait. So now things cool down for a little bit. And I noticed that, I'm still like being told to stand out. And this guy looks like he's guarding the situation. So I'm standing outside of like the living area, because it's like this arch that opens up. So I'm standing like on the wall, and I see Bank Robber Bay comes out, right? Bank Robber Bay comes out, and he looks at me. He's like, you okay? I was like, I'm okay. And he gets like, it's so weird because when he talks to me, he becomes soft. So like the most scariest, dangerous man just looked like he had death in his eye, looks over at me. He's like, are you okay? His voice changes. I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. So now he walks over to this like kitchen area and Jay follows through and Kilo's sitting down and Jay goes and I overhear him say to Bankrupt Bay, he's like, yo, you don't even know this girl, bro. So I just take this as Jay don't care about me because Jay don't know me. But Jay, I'm gonna need you to get with the program because y'all ain't finna give me up. So Bank Robber Bay says, yo, Jay, I don't care if it was a puppy. I'm not giving it to him because he think he could just come in here and tell me that he can just take from me. And then Bank Robber Bay gonna say, Jay, why would you set me up? Why would you do that to me? Jay gonna say, this is not good for business. You weren't supposed to come back. I told you not to come back. You took from him and you shouldn't have. Now I need you to handle it. So I can hear this, right? And so let's say like the conversation goes on, it goes on a little, and then they go back into the living room area, right? So I hear Kilo go and say, y'all got the number? Bank Robber Bay doesn't say anything. Jay speaks for Bank Robber Bay, right? Y'all. Tell me why Jay gonna go say what the number is, right? And Kilo gonna say, word? And Jay says, Kilo, that's the number. And Kilo says, that's your final offer. Jay says, yes. Mind you, I don't see what's going on. I'm just on the outside. Probably 2-4 seconds later, all I hear is a bow. So all I hear is a bow. And my heart stops for a second, right? And I'm just like, so I'm getting ready to try to run. And Kilo guy goes and snatches me, pulls me back, and he goes. And I'm like, so he's telling me to be quiet and stand down, like just stand there. So all I hear is Kilo go, Jay, you hit me? And Kilo's men pull out all their tools and they're like, so I'm just like, what the heck is happening, right? Jay goes and to Kilo. And I was given like, Jay actually just grazed Kilo, right? He grazed him. Didn't hit him like at a specific point, but wherever he hit him, like just grazed him. And it didn't really like, take him out. So I can only assume it's a bunch of Kilo's men with Kilo and Jay and Bank Robber Bay in a stand down, right? Because Jay keeps saying, tell him to put it down. And I'm just like, this was the stupidest idea I've ever seen or heard because like it's two of them, right? Versus a bunch of like Kilo guys. So Kilo's like, like going crazy. But for some reason, I noticed Kilo's men don't let out, right? Like, so Jay goes and says, I advise you tell your men to stand down. And Kilo goes and says, are you crazy? You crazy? You gonna do this to me? And Jay says, in my house, yes, because you're not about to disrespect me. You know me. You know I run things. You know about. So I'm just like, what the heck is happening? So this whole time I'm thinking, yo, Jay must have a lot of manpower like within himself for him to feel like he can do that. And literally no one's doing anything, right? So Kilo is just going crazy. He's like, Jay, you crossed the line. Jay, it's over. So Jay goes and says, Kilo, like I said, I advise you don't do nothing stupid right now, right? Cool. So Jay goes and say, tell your men to put it down because you already know what this is going to turn into if you try me in my own house. So it's quiet, right? But I just hear Kilo going, So Kilo goes and says, stand down, stand down. So then Jay goes and says, now Kilo, do you want the offer or not? Kilo sounding like a big baby, right? Kilo, who's a scary man, becomes like small. Kilo goes and says, keep it, Jay. We good. So I'm just like, he don't want the money and he just got hurt. So then Jay gonna say, that was just a graze, Kilo. But don't do nothing stupid because you already know what this gonna turn into. So I'm like, that sounds like to me, like, So Kilo men, like they gather him and Kilo's like, yo, I'm out. But Jay, this ain't over. And Jay says, Kilo, you know it's bad for business. You just disrespected me. Don't do it again, right? Cool. So this is the oddest encounter I've seen, because I'm just like, right? So Kilo and his men start to leave, and I'm just looking away, right? Now, remember, there was a man that snatched me and went and said, remember that man. Remember that man. Because this man plays a crazy part in this entire situation. Like, this situation gets crazier by the second. So now they're gone, and I hear Jay going in on Bank Robber Bay. He's like, this is what you brought here. This is the drama you always bring. This is why I can't trust you with nothing. Nothing. You mess with my business. You mess with our lives. What is wrong with you? Why can't you figure it out? Why? So now Bank Robber Bay is just looking like a kid for 2 seconds. And I'm just like, nah, Bank Robber Bay. Like, you supposed to be like serious and whatnot. But this whole entire time too, I'm just like, why and how did I get myself into this entire situation? So I'm startled and scared, right? Jay Guy left, so I'm just standing in the area that he left me in. And Bank Robber Bay looks at me, he's like, come on. And I'm just like, what did I do to you? So Bank Robber Bay goes into the kitchen, I follow, and he tells me to sit down. And Jay's looking at me like, you don't even know this girl, and you bring her around here. You got yourself into some stupid mess because you want to act like a child. So Jay looks at me and he's like, we're going to have to figure out what to do with you. And I'm like, do with me? I got to go home. I don't know anything, sir. I didn't see nothing. I don't know nothing. I ain't hear nothing, okay? I just want to go home. So Bank Robber Bay goes and says, she has nothing to do with this. And that's when Jay goes and says, she has everything to do with this. The only reason why you here is because you was with her. Do you even know her last name? Let's start there. And I'm like, so now I'm just sitting here like, y'all don't got to know that much about me. I just want to go home. I don't know much about you. I don't even think Bank Robber Bay name is Bank Robber Bay, all right? I mean, his original, like his actual name. So I'm just like, I don't know nothing. I was like, and I told him straight, I was like, yo, you don't got to worry about me. I just want to be let off on the freeway and I figure out myself my way back home. So Bank Robber Bay goes and he's like, yo, Jay, we not doing nothing to her. Again, she got nothing to do with this. And that's when I'm like, yes, defend me, baby. Defend me. So now Jay goes and says, I can't trust you to do anything smart anymore. I can't trust you to be here anymore. After all this is done, you're done. You're done. He's like, now you messed up business between me and Kilo. But of course I'm going to have your back. Because I won't let no man disrespect me in my space. But you did this. You did all of this. So I'm looking at this like, and you know, Bank Robber Bay's quiet. He's not saying nothing. He's just taking it in. So now Jay's like, now I got to figure out how to situate situations for you. And I'm like, so Jay ends the conversation and Jay's like, he calls his assistant to come and send me to a room. He's like, bring her to blah, blah, blah. Brings me to one of the rooms. I'm like walking and I look at Bank Robber Bay like, don't leave me. So Bank Robber Bay looks at me like it's okay. And he continues his conversation with Jay, right? So I go upstairs and I'm in this room. And first of all, I must say the house is beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful big house, plenty of rooms, and I'm sitting there, and the assistant looks at me, he's like, hey, do you need anything? And I'm like, no, I'm okay, I'm fine. So I'm chilling in that room for a little bit, just nervous, shaken up, because I just saw this crazy drama implode, right? So boom, I'm in this room, right? So I'm in this room for like 20 minutes, and I'm just sitting here nervous, and the door flies open, and it's Bank Robber Bay. He's like, you good? I'm like, yes. And he's like, okay, you gonna shower here, brush your teeth, and we're gonna leave. I'm like, but we just got here. He's like, we can't stay here. We're gonna leave. I'm like, okay, cool. He looked a little like irritated and aggravated, but I just listened. I'm like, okay, I guess we're gonna go. But then I say to him, like, am I ever gonna go home? He's like, I need you to stop and trust me. And I'm like, okay. So this whole time I'm trying to figure out, I've been gone for a little too long now. I'm hoping that, there's like a little alert out here for me to look for me because like, you know, I'm on the run with someone that I don't want to be on the run with. And this, like I said, is getting hostage situation. So Bank Robber Bay walks out and he comes back in probably like 10 minutes later. He throws me a towel, toothbrush, and a pair of sweatpants with a t-shirt and a hoodie. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is what I'm wearing, right? Fresh socks. I had on like these little shoes, like these. So I get ready, I go to the shower and I use up a good soap. I use up all day lotion. I'm like, I don't care. I'm gonna take advantage of y'all because y'all freaking taking advantage of this situation and got me on the run and I don't wanna be here. So yes, I definitely used their good soap, their good lotion. I got ready, put the hoodie on, put the sweats on, and was like, you know, come out. Bank Robber Bay is in the room that I was in, right? So I come out the bathroom, dressed up, go inside the room, and I'm looking at him. He's sitting down, and he's like, "We need to leave now." And I'm like, "Are you gonna tell me where we're going?" And he's like, "You're gonna depart from me. I'm gonna figure this out, but we need to go right now. I'm like, "Do you know where we're going?" He's like, "I know where we're gonna stay at, but it's too hot, and I can't have you around this stuff." And I'm like, "Okay." So we come downstairs, see Jay. Jay looks at me with this like serious look, like shaking his head. Then he looks at Bank Robber Bay and he's like, all right. So we get into a different car, right? There's this new entire car. We walk downstairs and there's a new car outside. And it seems like it's probably one of Jay's cars. But anyway, we get into this new car and I'm looking around and I'm just like uncomfortable. Like I'm just nervous because this whole entire time it's odd that I'm adapting to the situation, but I just remembered that Jay just did some real gangster stuff earlier. So I just want to get out of Jay's house. I don't want to be in Jay's house. Jay scares me. I feel like he is a very calculating man, but he has some serious like anger issues when it comes to disrespect. So we're driving now, right? We leave Jay's, we get out, and we're probably driving for like an hour and let's say 30 minutes, right? And we end up in this garage. Like we end up driving into this mechanic garage that seems like there's nobody there. And I don't want to say it's abandoned because I see like a few cars there, but he whips out a key, opens it up, and we're in there. And it's just us. And he's like, we're going to be good for now. I'm like, okay. So at this point, he also has like a burner phone. And it seems like wherever he got, like he had this bag with him. In that bag that I told you he picked up at the last house, he had like a burner phone. He had things inside that bag. I didn't really look into the bag, but I can see that that's where he kept most of the things that we're on like the run with, right? So he has this burner phone and he calls who I assume is Jay. He's like, I'm good. And Jay's like, bet. So he's on the phone with Jay for he's on the phone with Jay for like 5 minutes and then he hangs up. So now I walk on over and there's like this couch there and I just sit there and I'm like shaking my head. He looks at me and I look at him and I just look away and I'm just shaking my head. He comes on over to me. He sits down. He's like, Chelsea, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so very sorry. And I'm like, at this point, I tell Bank Robber Bay, I'm like, you've apologized to me more than anyone has in a very long time. In a short span of time, you've just been saying sorry. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. There's no need for me to be here. You could have just let me go a long time ago. He was like, I'm sorry. And I'm just sitting there looking at him like, you're stupid. Then I'm thinking about my friend. I'm like, she's stupid. Everybody in this situation is stupid. So then he goes and he looks at me. He's like, all right, Chelsea. He's like, are you hungry? I was like, yes, I'm actually very hungry. He's like, I bet. So in the back of my head, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to go get some food and I can escape, right? Yeah, this man had in the trunk of that car that we drove, he had sandwiches, chips, snacks, water. And I'm like, damn, I guess he got it at Jay's before we pulled up to the spot. So he gives me a sandwich. I start eating it and I'm just looking at him like pissed off. Like, I just want to go, right? So he's laughing at me. And I'm like, why are you laughing? He was like, you're so cute when you're mad. And I'm like, this is not the time for this. Like, I'm really pissed off. So he's like, can you just make light of the situation? I'm like, oh my God, this guy is really like mentally off. So I'm irritated and I'm just eating my food, ignoring him. So he goes, he's like, let's get to know each other a little better. I'm like, I don't think I want to get to know you anymore. He's like, so I go and say to him, I'm like, matter of fact, who's Jay to you? Who's Jay? And why do you trust him so much? So he goes and says to me, my dad used to beat me up very badly. And I'm like, okay. He was like, it was like bad. And, you know, I was a kid ripping and running the streets, and Jay took me under his wing. And one day he saw that my dad was like hitting me really, really bad. And he pulls up to my crib and beat my father up. Like, he was like, Jay, like, boom, 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 boom. And then Jay told him, pack your stuff, you moving in with me. I was like, how old were you when that happened? He was like, I was 13. And I was like, wow. So then, you know, we're chit-chatting, and I get really tired.
Did this happen in America? Let me not assume. Did this happen in America? But what you lost me is by saying that he beat up his daddy and then told that little 13-year-old that you're going to live with me now. Listen, Jay would have been in prison for life. That's kidnapping.
I'm a very sleepy person, right? But a part of me really does feel like he's not going to do nothing to me because he's been very protective of me the entire situation. So he looks at me, he's like, you cold? I was like, yeah. So he grabs this blanket from like one of the lockers in the like the garage, and he's like, lay down on the couch, and you know, he was like, just get comfortable. He was like, I got you. I'm like, okay, cool. So I fall asleep, and I'm probably knocked out. Like, it feels like I was knocked out forever, right? But I'm sleeping, and then I hear like his phone ringing, and I'm like half, like that's, I wake up to that, but I'm like half asleep, half awake. And y'all, this guy starts screaming on the phone like, what? What do you mean? And I'm like, I wake up, I'm like, what's going on? He's on the phone with his homeboy, the one from like that, I told you, like the first, like with the girl, with the side girl, like the safe house situation. He's on the phone with that guy. And he's going off like, no, right? So I'm just like, what just happened? He gets off the phone and he says, they got Jay. I'm like, who got Jay? He's like, they got Jay. I'm like, boom. Bank robber Bay gonna go say they got Jay. So I'm like, oh my God, who got Jay? So at this point, he's just screaming and he's pissed off and he's like, what? Y'all. He goes and says a bunch of cop cars surrounded Jay's crib. Mind you, I'm thinking, why would anyone surround Jay's crib? And this is like a lot, right? Because how do they know that we were there? So I'm trying to put two and two together because I'm sitting there thinking, did Kilo snitch? You know, like, did something happen? Right? Remember when I said that one of Kilo guys had snatched me up and went, shh, stand down? Y'all tell me why that man was undercover. He was an undercover Fed. And apparently they have been trying to crack a case on Jay and Kilo and just the whole nine, right? So Jay gave this man ammo because boom, because this guy has witnessed, which I'm sure he's witnessed a bunch of other stuff. I don't know, but he witnessed Jay pulling out a little on Kilo and hitting Kilo with a little right? So, just for context, the is the pow pow. But anyway, so now they got Jay, y'all. They got Jay surrounded with a bunch of cop cars at his beautiful mansion, I must say. And guess what? We escaped with luck. So this man is just dodging the police. He just dodging Kilo. He dodging everybody. So now Bank Robber Bay is losing his mind. I mean, he is screaming. He's like, nah, freaking out. And I'm watching him pace back and forth and trying to figure out what's going on. So I'm sitting there like, the police gonna get me? Because I want to go home. I want some real food, right? So then he looks at me and he just looks puzzled. And I'm like, and he's like, I gotta get rid of you. I was like, what? He's like, you gotta go home. I gotta go. I was like, you gonna leave me in the middle of all this chaos? But how you sending me home? So this guy goes, he's like, put your things on. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm finally going home. He's like, hurry up, we gotta go. So, you know, he snatches his bags, he's grabbing everything, jumps inside of this car, and we get out. So I'm just like, where we going now? And he's not talking to me. He's just like mad quiet and he looks zoned out now. And I'm just like, so you're not gonna tell me nothing? Is this what we're doing? Now, this man is out here speeding. I mean, speeding need for speed. Fast and Furious ain't got nothing on him. And we just going and going. I'm just sitting here like, you about to get pulled over by the cops. So he's just like pissed off and he's like, takes a quick little boop boop turn to some other area. And we end up in this motel, right? The guy that, like, it's like some like real like old motel that I'm sure a lot of crime has happened, and the guy up front just looks the other way. So now we in this motel, right? And he asks the guy for a room, and I'm just like, yo, how many places we gonna go? Because we done went to so many locations, and for some reason, how come nobody is like, how come I haven't been found yet? I'm on the run. So we get to the motel and we go to this desk, the front desk, and there's this guy who looks like he's like in his mid-30s. He looks like he don't care about nothing, y'all. Like he just finished smoking and was just like, okay, y'all need a room, and he asked for a card. And Bank Rob Babe was like, I only got cash. And at this point, I'm just like, oh, he prepared. He know not to leave a paper trail, right? So I'm just like, damn, this is like the next place we're in. And at this point, I feel like, am I getting home anytime soon, right? Because like, why is anyone searching for me? And why am I still on the run? So we go in this room, and it's one big bed, and I'm like, I know we're not finna fall asleep on the bed together, because, like, he ain't finna touch no booty. But anyway, right? I go, and I'm like, I really need a shower again. And at this point, I just need a shower, but I'm re-wearing, like, the same shirt and sweatpants, right? I know, a little nasty, but whatever. But anyway, I jump in the shower, I get ready, and he's quiet. Like, I mean, it's like he don't really care that I'm around right now. Like, it's like he's not paying attention to anything other than his thoughts. So now he's looking all serious, a little sexy if you ask me, because I love me a serious, sexy man. But, trying to focus here. I go in the shower, I come out, and I'm in this towel. And he looks at me, and I look at him, and I'm just like, so I know I look good fresh out the shower, right? Got a little cold right now, I'm a little sick, but I was looking good. And I know this because he's staring at me like this man who was like lost in thought and all serious just looks at me like, and I'm looking at him like, and he's just looking at me like, then he goes and says, you're really beautiful. And I'm like, thank you. Now, don't get me wrong. I am very still upset. And something about the fear, it has officially like blown over me because it's like I'm becoming numb to like being scared of what's going on. But I'm irritated, I'm angry, but I'm still a little like hot and bothered. I don't know. He was looking really good, y'all. He was looking really good. So, he's staring at me. I'm in my towel, and I'm like, okay, this is not the time to flirt. He's like, nah, you just look really beautiful. Something about the way he said I look beautiful and his like very serious, very, very serious, scary almost demeanor. But like, it was giving like, you sexy. Like, he was giving it was hot, So I'm just like, okay, things are about to go left, and I should probably run and put some clothes on. So I walk out. So y'all, there's an intensity in the room, but I'm trying to not be awkward because I understand what this intensity is. And as angry as I am, Big Rubber Babe's fine as hell. And he was doing a lot of protecting and a lot of, and I'm just like, and something about when he was like really angry, but like then turned serious and focused, it was just like, oh, girl, don't be toxic. Don't be toxic. But like, so I'm standing between the bathroom door, right? And I just walk out, right? And as I'm walking past the bed to just, go and like grab my stuff, he puts his hand on my thigh. Like he grabs my thigh, right? First of all, just gotta say, this man had a man hand. Like it was that grip, man. So he goes and he grips my thigh, but not in like a forceful way, just in a, I don't know, it was just like a touch. And I would look over at him and he looks at me with these eyes. And I'm just like, y'all. Yeah. Y'all, get into it with part 11. So, boom. He gets to touching my thigh, and I could feel every hair on my skin rising up. I mean, my skin feeling hot, and I'm just like, he stands up from the bed, and he pulls me into him. And I'm looking at him like, is this supposed to happen? So he looks at me, and I look at him, and I'm like, and he just grabs me and kisses me. So at this point, our lips are touching. I am feeling like, oh my God, this man is just so fine. And we're just kissing and kissing. He's like grazing my back with his hand. And I'm just like, oh my God. So he starts like, man, handling me like the most sensualist. I don't even think that's a word, but like, sorry, yeah, that man was fine. He's dangerous, but he's fine. Obviously, at this point, I'm like captivated in the moment. This guy is so fine. You know, his arms is just like, wrapped around me. We're making out. He's like touching, like kissing on my shoulders. I still have this towel on. And, it's seeming like he's about to like unravel the towel. And that's when it hits me. Girl, he's a criminal. And you're on the run. Stop. Say, we can't. I'm like, stop. He's like, huh? I'm like,
She said she was hot. You know what that means? That means like a dog in heat. You know what I mean? Like she got folded. Let's keep going.
no, this is not okay. Like none of this is okay. So he's looking at me. He goes and he sits back down on the bed, and I just like fix my towel up, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go grab my clothes and change in the bathroom. And he's like, all right. He's like, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't make you feel uncomfortable. So now in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm pissed off because I'm torn between gosh, you really got me out here on the run, trying to go home. I still haven't been home. But on the other hand, I'm like, you're so thoughtful and respectful. And I mean, you a kind criminal. Gangster, but kind. Go ahead and I grab my clothes and I just go into the restroom. And I start putting lotion on my legs and I'm changing. And he knocks on the door and I'm just like, yes. And he's like, are you good in there? And I'm like, as can be, good as can be, yes. Why, what's up? He was like, nothing. And I'm like, what is it? He's like, I remember him saying, I can't stop thinking about the way you feel. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? He's like, your skin, like my hands on your skin and my lips on yours. And I'm like, well, you should stop thinking about that. Like, focus. we kind of we into some right now, okay? And he starts laughing, and I'm like, no, it's a no. He's like, okay. He's like, I'm just saying. I'm like, I finished getting dressed, and I open the bathroom door, and there he is, just sitting there with his like puppy dog eyes, and just looking like, like looking so manly, but also looking so, I don't know, this look in his eyes, like big eyes, like. And so we lock eyes for a second and we just start laughing. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing? What's going on? He was like, he goes and says to me, he's like, I got to figure out how to get out of here, but I want you to get home safe. So I'm just trying to map this whole thing out. I'm like, okay, cool. What do you need from me? Well, at this point, I'm realizing I'm giving ride or die, but really ride and leave. But, I think I feel like I've gotten to know him since being on this whole entire run situation. And I've seen him get angry, get scary, serious, but also he's been super protective of me this entire time. So there's this thing that shifts in me, and it's like I'm pissed off with him still, but I really actually do want him to just find his way and get out of this situation and I get home, right? I'm also thinking about Jay and what just happened to him. I'm just thinking about the whole entire situation, right? So boom. So we sitting down and then we get to talk and I'm like, so what's up with Jay? He's like looking like shaking his head like, yeah. He's like, Jay's done for. I'm like, what do you mean he's done for? He's like, he shot Kilo for someone else. I was like, what's up with Kilo? He was like, they didn't arrest Kilo. I'm like, they didn't arrest Kilo. He's like, yeah. He's like, Kilo's on the run. I said, Kilo's on the what? I'm like, how convenient, right? So I'm sitting there like, I guess a bunch of us is on a run. But I'm also sitting there thinking, am I thinking the obvious? So he gets quiet and he starts getting his in his head. And I'm looking at him and he has this death stare that comes on his face like a it gets like first it's like thinking, then it gets a blank stare, and I'm just like, is everything okay? He ignores me and I'm like, are you okay? He's like, and he's just thinking, right? So he says to me, he's like, I gotta make a phone call. I'm like, is everything okay? He's like, and he gets a little irritated with me for a second. He's like, I can't talk to you right now. He's like, I need to make a phone call. So I'm like, okay. All right. He's like, I'm gonna step outside for a second. I'm like, all right. He's on this phone call, right? And I try to like put my ear on the door, but because I'm a little nosy, but I can't hear much. But I'm like, let me just sit on the bed because I don't want to piss this man off. So I'm sitting on the bed and it's like 5 minutes is passing. He comes now back into the room and he looks at me and I'm looking at him. He's like, I gotta leave. I was like, what? He's like, I gotta leave. I'm like, where are you gonna leave me? He was like, you're gonna go home. He was like, this is the last stop for you. I'm like, why? He's like, it's not safe for you anymore. I'm like, I was like, it was never safe. He was like, Chelsea, and he sits next to me. He looks at me. He's like, yo, I'm really sorry for what I put you through, but things are about to get very crazy now. You cannot continue. Like, I gotta get you home. So he gets super sweet, and it feels like now we're having like a departing conversation. So at this point, I'm like, oh, I'm fine, about to go home. But I'm also a little concerned about him because there's like this shift. Like, it's like he found something out when he stepped out. And remember, he had this death stare. When he came in, he had like this disbelief stare. Okay, it was like whatever he found out was a game changer, right? So now I'm realizing, okay, whatever he found out or whatever he put together, when he came back into this room, right before he came into this room, whatever he found out confirmed something so serious that he now realizes he needs to get me far away from the situation. And I got like this feeling from him that it's like he's about to get like scary. Like, the little scary moments I've seen of this man ain't nothing compared to what may happen, because something about him just seems like he's like parting ways with me. Like, he's preparing to like give me this like, parting ways conversation, but it's also like I should not see the next version of him, right? Which I'm also just like, dangerous. So now he makes this little joke, like this little comment, while we're sitting next to each other. And he puts his hand on my right leg, like my right kneecap. And he puts his hand on my right kneecap. And he looks at me and I'm like, what? He's like, not gonna lie. I'm like, what? He's like, you're the perfect Bonnie. And I'm like, I didn't sign up to be your Bonnie. And he just starts laughing. So we're giggling. I'm laughing. I'm like, whatever. And he looks at me. He was like, I wish things were different between us. And I was like, so it's probably 2 to 5 minutes of him looking at me, and I'm just looking at him like blushing. And all I hear is a boom, 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 boom on our motel door. So I hear this loud boom, 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 and he goes, shh. And I'm like, what's happening? And he looks at me, he's like, any noise? And I'm like, hi guys. So I know some of y'all are gonna kill me for not finishing the story, but the truth of the matter is someone from the story has been threatening to sue me. And so I've been given legal advice to not complete the rest of the stories, but I'm going to do what I want. So tune in tomorrow as I finish up my date with an America's Most Wanted criminal. I haven't used anyone's name, so no, you cannot bully me into not completing and saying my truth. And it's been way too long at this point. I'm so sorry that I haven't given you guys any updates. But yeah, tomorrow I'm going to finish the story. And yeah, and also to those who are saying that the story is fake, I have a little surprise for you tomorrow. So tune in.
She indeed did not have anything for us tomorrow. So since she didn't want to finish the story, let's just finish the story ourselves. Clearly, the knock on the door was the police. He ended up getting arrested. Her ass ended up going home. I'm just happy you made it out of that situation at this point. I don't want to hear shit else. The way this story took 2 months to fucking tell, bro, and I waited patiently. I'm pissed. I ain't gonna lie to you. I hate cliffhanger stories, but let's just say she's okay. She's fine. If y'all want to wait even longer, to maybe go follow her to see if she's gonna update her situation. But she didn't update anything. I checked Instagram. I checked her TikTok where the stories originally came from. Nothing. That was the last video. She indeed got bullied out of telling the rest of the story. Or maybe she just got tired of telling this damn story and said, you know what, I'm okay. So she's okay, y'all. That's all that matters. Don't get mad at me because she didn't finish the story. I was kind of over it anyways. You're good, all right? You're good. All this gaslighting is driving me crazy. Messy family, please forgive me. I tried to chop the video up and get it straight to the point, but she was never going to get to the point anyways. That's just how this story was going. But I'm not knocking her. I'm not judging her. The situation just seems like a movie, something out of a movie to me. So I didn't know how to take it serious or not. But what do you guys think about this story? Am I the only one who was getting these reactions from watching this story? Do you all think that this story is a little fabricated, or do you believe this story to be true? I would love to saw some type of screenshot, some type of photo, some type of something, some voice messages, something. Like you said, you and your friends was texting it. Why couldn't we get a screenshot of that? Could we? I just didn't believe the little screenshot in the comment section. I feel like that was a fake account that did that. Because why would they sue you? Come on, we talking about criminals are talking about suing you. Criminals, people who have shot people and one of them was holding you hostage. Who could possibly be the person seeking legal actions against you unless it's either the girl that he had you trapped over house with the dude. We don't even know their names, those two. Well, one of those two did it, but that don't make no sense because they was in it. Why the hell would I sue you for something I had played a part in it? Messy family, I don't know. But happy Sunday. I hope y'all enjoyed the story time. She's a really good storyteller, but the thing is, I've listened to over, I don't know, 200-300 stories. And it's kind of hard to convince me. Like, you a great storyteller. Facial expressions are there, reactions are there, dramatics, all of this stuff. You had everything. You even had a love scene. You got everything. You got crime, you got love. This is a perfect story. That's why I don't believe it. That's why I'm having a hard time believing it. Because you left out of this whole situation with no scratch, and I'm just trying to figure out where are your survival skills. Why the hell didn't you get up out of there immediately? But that's it. I just spent over 2 hours of my Sunday on this. Enjoy y'all day, messy family. Let me know what y'all think. And until the next story time. Peace.